Hey everybody, welcome back. Taking a look at a gun I just received in the mail. I was able to receive it in the mail because it's an antique rifle built before 1899. Any antique rifle, well, that's the definition of an antique rifle in the United States, is any rifle built before 1899 or 1898 or earlier. Canada's actually a year earlier on their antique firearms, but that's the definition of one. Don't know how that date was decided on, but this falls under that category. Able to just order it, receive it in the mail, sign for it, and it's in my possession. You can do the same thing with some curio and relic firearms if you have the curio and relic license, and I'm going to make a video on what constitutes an antique firearm because I was asked some questions about how I was able to receive this rifle. What it is a model 1884 Springfield Trapdoor. This one was built in 1892, as the serial number indicates, and also the cartouche on stock, and I'll show you that here in just a minute. These value of these guns is going up like all other military surplus firearms, and with the election coming up, it's probably even going to go up more depending on who gets elected. The poor examples of this gun probably run you in the $900 range, say. I say poor, I should say good. A good example. A mid-range one such as this one would cost you more in the $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 range, and a high-end trapdoor is going to run you, or collectible such as an earlier model or rarer model, going to be $2,500 or more. So if you're wanting to get into collecting something like this, you better get on the wagon and purchase one, because they're not going to get any cheaper. The supplies are drying up of these military firearms. Even the cheap one like Mosin Nagant's, which I sold a couple in order to purchase this firearm. And especially being a rarer firearm as this one is, this one was built in, as I said, 1892, and that was one of the last years of this rifle. 1893 was actually the last year of production of them. Began in 1873. There are some older examples of this too, conversions, and they were made for 20 years. So this one is about 124 years old. So it's in reasonably good condition considering what it's probably been through and storage and whatnot. The only war this would have probably served in would have been the Spanish-American War, and then probably, since the Krag was already developed and in use, the bolt action, this one probably would have been a rear guard gun, rear troop gun. That's the only thing it would have served in. Of course, earlier versions of this would have been in the Indian Wars, and even some of the carbines could have been in Custer's battlefield. If they're pre a certain date, a small chance that maybe your carbine was used on the Custer battlefield. Probably a very rare and one of the more expensive guns. This one's in very good condition. Bluing is probably 75, maybe 80%. The color case hardening is pretty indistinguishable on it. But let's zoom in a little bit here on this side of it, and we'll pick it up and I'll show you the Ramrod Bayonet on this one. That was in the last 3 years of production. There were a few experimental models of the Ramrod Bayonet. And this one, there is that bayonet I was talking about. It stays on the gun with a rather large, clumsy latch. It works, but it's kind of flimsy almost. but when you pull that cleaning rod bayonet out, you notice it's very heavy. There's some of the nice markings on the gun. Let me grab it, bring it towards the camera. We'll extend the bayonet and take a little closer look at some of the cartouches that are on the firearm. Alright, we'll just pan up and down it real quick, show you some of the dings and scratches that are on it. There's the sling swivel, one-piece trigger guard. Earlier ones had a two-piece. This would have just been butted up to the plate and screwed on with nuts on the inside. The Buffington rear sight, reminiscent of the 1903 sight in that it is windage adjustable. This screw here actually adjusts the sight for windage. Into elevation, of course, adjustable out to ridiculous from the days of volley fire. You can get it to focus there. Barrel bands have a U on them that, from my understanding, stands for up. So when you have the gun on its butt, those should be upright, indicating they're the right side out, not backwards. Here's that Ramrod bayonet. There's a latch, or rather pressure points on either side. You push on these two points. Let me get situated here. It's rather stiff on a pivot, and then you can see there's the notch that supports it in place. Two of them, one on each end of the pivot. Comes out quite a ways, locks in place. So there's our bayonet already installed on the rifle. It comes the rest of the way out and acts as a cleaning rod. It's threaded. And to reinsert it, back in it goes. Simple as that. On the buttstock, there's provisions for carrying a cleaning kit. I have a cleaning kit for this gun. Consists of a screwdriver combination tool and a broken shell extractor, and then a wiper or tulip they were called, or a thimble, which screws onto the end of the ramrod, turning it into a cleaning kit. There's the US marking on the butt plate, and on this side, see if we can't get it to focus in here, is the cartouche, indicating it's not real strong, but indicating the 1892 build date and the inspector's initials. And on the bottom, there's a proof mark. It's a stylized P, a little faint, and another N stamped. I'm not sure what that stamp means. I'm by no means an expert on these, just an enthusiast. A few dings again as we travel up the other side. Two swivels on the front. One is a stacking swivel for stacking the firearms when they weren't in use, and the sling swivel and the blade front sight. Very fine front sight. Whoa, sorry about that. When you're sighting down the rifle, it's an extremely fine front sight. So there we have it, a little bit of information on the Springfield Trapdoor. Very fine rifle, should be a good shooter. We'll get it out and shoot it a little bit and take some video of that in the future. And also look for definition of an antique rifle, what can be ordered straight to your door in the future too. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.